Hey guys, so we got week 1 in the bag for our base building phase before we get to the Firecracker 5K in July. And yeah, so it's just going to be kind of a quick rundown of how the week went and kind of what the focus of this block is and what we're actually using it for. Stick around. All right, so we got week 1 in the bag. So unlike a lot of other kind of stepping stone goals, we're really kind of using this as kind of more of a measurement of fitness. And so we're going to be doing a bit of a base building. Unlike some base building, though, we're going to try to incorporate a little bit of the turnover work, some of the biomechanical work, to make sure that we're cleaning up our mechanics so that when we're doing more volume and harder work later down the road, I'm not getting hurt again. That being said, we're still registered for a race. We're going to run the 5K on July 4th in Shreveport, and that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, which is about right for a short little base building block, kind of get the volume back up to right where it normally would be. So last week we ended up hitting only a total of about 28 miles, but if you include the swimming and the lifting, that's going to be right around almost 5 hours of training, which is about where it needed to be total. This week we'll probably be looking for somewhere between 28 and 30 miles total. Making sure we're getting the lifting in. That total volume should be going up though, and that's kind of the goal for the next 6 weeks, is to get that volume up. I haven't really crunched the numbers yet to kind of see time-wise where that'll get us, if you include swimming and lifting and all that other stuff. But by the time we get around to the race, we should be getting about 30-35 miles a week. We're going to take it pretty conservatively, partly because I don't want to get hurt again. So I'm not in a big rush. It's a base building phase. And we'll continue to build through the summer. By the time we get to September and October, we'll probably be back up around 40-45 miles a week, which doesn't sound like a huge jump, but if you include kind of a proportional jump in the amount of cross training we're doing, because for however much work we're doing, the total percentage of our total volume budget needs to stay the same. And so if we're going to increase our quality work by 25-30%, then that means we need to increase our total volume by 25 or 30%. And that adds up pretty quick in terms of time committed over the course of the week. And realistically, it's summer. And so I know that my daughter's going to be home more. My wife is going to be home more. We got travel plans. We got summer camps. We're going camping. We got all the normal life stuff that happens during the summer. And trying to pretend that doesn't exist isn't going to help anybody for any training plan. It's very important to make sure you account for all of those variables and be realistic when you are like, I think I have X amount of time I can dedicate to training on these days or this week, however you want to break it up. And trying to be like, well, if we have 6 hours of quality training time, like 6 hours we can dedicate to training, or 8 hours, or however much per week. But in reality, you don't really have, like, some days you have half an hour here, some days you have an hour and a half here, some days you got 2 hours. Trying to squeeze in, those quote-unquote quality workouts, especially during the base building phase, is one of the things that leads to injury. So we're trying to be real careful and not get that done. So last week, Monday, we started off with an easy 5 miles. It is starting to get to be summer here in Louisiana. It's starting to get hot and humid. Today I got lucky. It was overcast, but we'll talk about that on this week's wrap-up. Last week, so Monday, we started with an easy 5 miles. Nothing too crazy. Tuesday, I swam a mile in the pool, and then I did an easy 4.2 miles on the trail. I went and got some shade. It was late enough in the day by the time I was doing it. It was full sun, and it was 80, 85 degrees outside. but it's still early enough in the day that the humidity was still pretty high. And so it's potentially not the smartest thing to do to try to run in full sun, let alone the risk of sunburn. Me personally, a lot of people can, especially the folks that are from around here, they can run in the full sun and do okay. They can run with sunscreen on. I can't. I can't do it. I get too hot. And so if it's past 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning in the summer here, I either have to run inside or I got to find some shade. That way I can still be protected from the sun, but not have to wear sunscreen. Because, yeah, I don't want to have a heat stroke either. So, Wednesday morning, I got to meet up with my good buddy Troy. He's a physical therapist over at Danny Jones in town. We've done some collaborative work and some seminar series and worked together with several clients. He's an awesome guy. He used to be, he's a triathlete, and he's trying to get back in the swing of things. So we went out and we, 5 o'clock in the morning, got an easy 5 miles in, not trying to crush it or anything, but, just kind of moving right along. And then Thursday was supposed to be a recovery day because while we weren't trying to push too hard on Wednesday, I anticipated it being a little harder just because I was going to be running with somebody for the first time in a while. And, it was hilly. We ran a pretty hilly route. So, Thursday I was intending to swim and lift, and I swam a mile in the pool, and it was one of those magical workouts where everything clicked, and it's been a while since I had this working with any mode of exercise. When you're going, and you're not working hard, but you're performing at a much higher level, and that means you found a new gear. And that happened to me in the pool. I didn't have time to lift. I kind of over budgeted my, some of the work stuff I had doing. I didn't have the time available to do it. Mostly because we were having a house party that day because one of my wife's grad students is graduating, and we were doing her graduation party that afternoon. So we spent the majority of the day cleaning the house and weed whacking and all the stuff to do before you have a bunch of people over to your house, including my wife's department head. So what that meant was the lift got pushed to Friday. So I did an easy 5 miles and then went to go lift. And man, my entire posterior chain from my glutes all the way up to the middle of my back were fried. My glutes, my lats, like everything was cooked. And I know it's from that swim workout. I never thought a swim workout would get my glutes fired up quite that badly, but it did. And so consequently, the lifting I was planning on doing some deadlifts and some lunges and some pull-ups, a lot of stuff that strengthens your core and your posterior chain, the lifting I need to be doing during the base building phase, those muscles were already cooked. And so, I was able to do some chest presses, I did some curls and overhead presses, working on shoulder girdle integrity, and that was okay. But then when just the 45-pound bar on my back, and doing some warm-up squats. I did about 5 of them, and the smart side of me was like, Dylan, it's dumb to try to do some heavy squats today, let alone any lunges or anything else that's going to really fire that posterior chain. Those muscles were just cooked. They needed recovery. So I did that a little bit of upper body work, and then I hit the foam roller hard for a while, kind of worked some of those kinks out, which ended up paying off because by the time we got to Saturday out at Lincoln Parish Park, and the trails were open, most of them anyway. So I got to go run on the trails for the first time in a while, which was awesome. And right as I was getting ready to head out, a couple of the guys from the Tech Cross Country team were out doing their Saturday long run, and they're starting some base building stuff. And so I hopped in with them for their first 3 miles before I hooked back up with some clients of mine that were kind of in between intervals and sections and that kind of thing. I have to actually work while I'm out there. So I just kind of squeeze my run in while I can. But I got to run the first 3 miles with Noah and Mason, and it was awesome. It's been a while since I got to run on the trails with folks, and it was a wonderful experience. If you're in the Ruston area, I cannot recommend getting out to Lincoln Parish Park to get on the trails. Even if you're going to end up running slower because you're on trails, and it's going to help. It's going to help develop some of that core stability. Kind of work your muscles in different ways. It's softer, so you don't get quite as beat up. Yeah, it's just a wonderful place to be. And then if you need to throw in some faster work, you can do that on the asphalt around the loop, like I did at the tail end. And then I took Sunday as rest day. I took a day off. We had a bunch of stuff planned, family stuff, folks leaving town. Yeah, it's the end of the school year. It's May. So we had a bunch of stuff going on. And I try really hard to take 1 day a week off. And so I had to do some work, but I did not work out. And it was great. So overall, we got about 28 miles in, total of 5 hours of work, if you include the swimming and the lifting and the running. And most of it was fairly low intensity. Some of it was a little higher than I meant to. For instance, the running out of the park with Mason and Noah especially, I think I was pushing a little harder than probably wanted to. But going back and looking at the heart rate data, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as high as I thought it was. It's just those guys like to surge up hills, and there's enough rollers out there on the trails that, just a different style of running. I haven't quite run surging up hills in a while. So it was good for me. It was good for me to get out there with them. So that's it for this week. I'm going to see if I can get this uploaded to you, get it out today, and I think I'm going to try to do this on Mondays, just because I think about my training week Monday through Sunday, so I can get the video put together on Sunday or Monday morning and then get it out. I think that will be the plan. So stay tuned. Before we wrap up, kind of the big goals, what we're looking for. And this is something I want you to think about as we're kind of going through this. This first little bit, it's a base building phase. And so that 5K on July 4th isn't necessarily like a goal race. We're definitely thinking of it as simply a test of fitness to see where we are, so that when we're putting together like the quote unquote more intense training block, or we're training for a specific race to actually run a PR with a specific goal, we'll have the baseline data to do it. But I know I need to do the base work first, and I know I need to get those easy miles in first to build the foundation, to build the engine before I can really do that. The other reason why we're also doing some of this stuff now and the shorter, faster stuff with more recovery later is I live in Louisiana, and I know by the time we're getting to July and August, it's going to be really hot out. And so I'm trying to be cognizant of the fact that trying to do really hard threshold work and really hard interval work that really pushes the VO2 max and the lactate threshold without a ton of recovery isn't necessarily the safest thing to be doing when it's that hot and humid. And so we'll probably be trying to wiggle some of that in, but we're going to be doing mostly biomechanical work. We'll do some threshold stuff. Looking at my training plan, I got the first month or so of training sketched out. And so, we got some fartleks, a little bit of threshold work. We're going to be, all the long runs are going to be mostly easy pace for the most part. And that's kind of the plan for now. So, got some traveling coming up. Got some exciting races to figure out for this summer. So stay tuned. I'm excited to see where this goes and to see where we are 6 weeks from now. So hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, and if you have any questions, comments, be sure to leave them down below. Get in touch with us on Facebook at Coach Dylan, or on Instagram at Dylan Allen, or at Coach Dylan Allen, and or you can check us out on the website at www.allenendurancecoaching.com. Stay tuned. It's going to be a fun summer, guys, and I want to know how your training is going. Till next time, train smart.